Hey guys, I'm Grace, and this is Dollies and Dread. So we are here. My co-host this week is Caitlin. Caitlin, say hi.
Hello, this is Caitlin.
So we are covering this week. This one's a rough one. We are covering Chris Watts. I think we're just going to jump right in. I will start with the trigger warnings. This is a case involving children, and it's pretty rough. So if that is not something that you want to hear about, then please feel free to skip this episode and catch the next one. I think next week we're going to go a little lighter because this is a pretty heavy case. I think we're going to do some Reddit stories, maybe some fun ones like cryptids or something. But for this week, we are going to cover Chris Watts, and we're just going to jump right in because it's dark and it's had me down, and it's a rough one. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I cannot even begin to understand how it must feel to get the news that a family member is missing, let alone a partner and your children. In the summer of 2018, this appeared to be the nightmare of a local Colorado man. Chris and Shanann Watts seemed happy. They had 2 daughters, Bella and Cece Watts, aged 4 and 3, and Shanann was 15 weeks pregnant with their first son, Nico. On August 13, 2018, Shanann was on her way back home from a business trip in Arizona, having ridden with her coworker and friend, Nicole Atkinson. Later in the day they arrived home, Nicole started to worry about Shanann. She missed an OBGYN appointment and was no longer responding to her text messages. When Shanann missed a business meeting on top of everything else, Nicole made a trip to the Watts home where her attempts to make contact with the family were unsuccessful. Nicole called Chris at work and then called the police to perform a welfare check. Chris gave consent to search the home at this time. What a good friend to immediately notice. Because like my friends, if I called the police after not hearing from you for 5-10 hours, then I would have done that many times just this week. Like,
yeah, for real. Like, I nap so much. Like, the welfare, they would do like a welfare check on me at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Oh yeah, for sure. But what a good friend, seriously, to notice, like to immediately just go, okay, red flag. Like that's out of character for her.
Because like I just get depressed and just don't answer people, and I know people do that to me, so like I don't even think about it. Like some of my best friends I talk to like, I don't know, once every couple months.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and good on her for immediately. Like, nope, we're not gonna second guess this. We're calling the police immediately.
Yeah.
So, especially when there's kids involved. So, Shanann and their 2 young girls were missing. The family dog was found unharmed in the home, but there were no signs of Shanann or the girls. Her phone, wedding ring, purse, and car containing the girls' car seats were all located at the home. The FBI was brought in the next day in an effort to find the missing mother and her children. Chris Watts told police he had no knowledge of the whereabouts of his missing family and even gave interviews to local Denver news stations pleading for their return. And I'm going to play a clip of that real quick.
Shanann's husband, Chris, says before his family vanished, he and his wife had some words for each other.
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that.
But he says he last saw his family around 5 a.m. Monday when he left their Frederick, Colorado home for work.
If you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back.
Friend Nicole Utoff says she got worried when Shanann, who is also 15 weeks pregnant, missed a doctor's appointment.
So that was Chris Watts pleading for the return of his family.
You know exactly what happened. That's like the audacity. Like he thought like no one would ever like suspect him or think it was him. It's always the husband. It's always the boyfriend.
Oh yeah, that's immediately, which is probably why this case moved so quickly. Because you'll notice this was August 13th that like all of this went down. And then probably the next day, I would say, was the interviews. I didn't check that. I didn't feel like it was necessary because then on August 15th, 2018, mere hours after pleading for their safe return, Chris Watts was arrested, failed a polygraph test, and proceeded to confess to the murder of his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. Here's a clip of his confession to his father, and this is kind of hard to hear, so you might, I don't know, do your best. I'm playing it on my laptop, and even me, like, I really wish it had captions, but it does not, so. But here's that clip.
You freaked out all over separation. She laid me down, but that's not complicated. But I went upstairs and she was naked. I could see like choking her. Hair blue. She took it over from the bed. Freaked out.
So we're just gonna stop it right there because it could go on forever. That's a 6 hour? Oh god, almost 7 hour long video. But that's the clip where he's telling his dad, he's saying that that Shanann killed the girls in like retaliation, and that he flipped out after seeing this and he choked her in a fit of rage. But we're gonna jump, because we're gonna talk about all this, so we're just gonna jump right back in. So while it seemed like Shanann and Chris were happy on the outside looking in, Chris was having an affair with a woman named Nicole Kessinger for 2 months leading up to Shanann's murder. When I initially learned about this case and other podcasts that I listened to, it seemed believable that Kessinger was just innocently with a man who was going through a separation. However, Kessinger's computer history showed a different story. Computer records show frequent visits to Shanann's Facebook page, which was full of family updates, including the recent pregnancy announcement with their son. It was pretty clear from Shanann's social media that she and Chris were not in the middle of a mutual separation, so any claims of this by Kessinger appear very suspicious. Kessinger's computer history also showed wedding dress shopping and Google searches of phrases such as, quote, "Man I'm having an affair with says he will leave his wife." Also damning is the fact Kessinger attempted to destroy her SIM card before giving her phone over to the police after having deleted photos and messages between Chris and herself. She also had in her Google search history questions of whether or not the police would be able to read her deleted text messages. All of this said, the absolute nail in Kessinger's coffin was the Google search for, quote, Amber Frey's net worth. Amber Frey is the mistress whose lover was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife. And also Google searching, quote, "Did people hate Amber Frey?" She knew what she was doing.
I hold back so many sighs, like, as you're saying it, because I'm just like,
it's just, she literally was like,
Googles anything. If you're gonna do something naughty, don't be Googling
what?
it.
How
Just
stupid!
watch enough true crime, you'll be fine. But like, what are you doing?
It's just makes no sense to me. Just the stupidity and the arrogance. Like, she knew what she was doing. She knew how people were gonna view her. She literally Googled, "Did people hate Amber Frey?" Because she was like, "Oh my god, people are gonna hate me." And actually, and I believe that all of this was before the murders. Like,
that's a hot take.
Yeah, and take that with a grain of salt, because as always, my sources will be,
who knows, honestly.
right. My sources will be in the description. I'm sure you can find that information somewhere if it was before or after. But regardless, like, to claim that you thought that your boyfriend, who, by the way, she had known for 2 months and she's looking at wedding dresses.
2 months? That's insane. That's some lesbian move. Like, that's not, I mean, or like, oh, I'm gonna marry a serial killer move, I guess, too.
Yeah, like, it's just, like, you knew what you were doing. They, like, Shanann's Facebook was full of, like, family stuff and stuff with the pregnancy, and, like, it was very obvious that Shanann was unaware that they were about to enter a mutual separation. It's just, why are men and why are women like that? Like, I just don't get it. And in my other thing, and this is unrelated to that, just in general, if he'll do it to her, he'll do it to you. So, like, you look dumb. You look really dumb. And it just makes me furious that I'm sure, and I don't know, I can't get into Chris Watts' head, thank God, but, like, I'm sure this relationship with Kessinger played a part in his decision, because there was another thing, and I didn't put this in here, so I'll just say it now, but later on, Chris did, like, a full confession, and he said that, like, he was planning it for weeks. He even tried to give Oxy, like, without her knowledge, to Shanann, trying to end her pregnancy because he thought it would make it easier to be with his mistress. Like, it's just just wild. And like for her to be like, yeah, no, I had no idea. Like, there's no way that he's going to these lengths to be with you and you don't know it. And I don't know that for sure, but that's my 10 cents. So.
Yeah, there's just no way.
She knew what she was doing for sure.
Well, to even like have that in your mind, like obviously he had to have said something. You don't just like, oh, I wonder what would happen if he just loved me so much he'd kill his wife and children. Like, what would happen? No one does that.
Yeah.
Unless he like says that to you, like, you know what, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
Well, and not to mention Amber Frey, the mistress whose lover was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife. So like, I don't know if this was before or after, I don't remember, but if so, I can't believe she's not in prison. Like on something, they had to have gotten her, like I don't know, anyway. But it just makes me angry. And this case really hits closer to home for me too, because I have 2 young kids and I just cannot. And I mean, thank God, because maybe that means I'm at least somewhat sound. You know what I mean? That I can't. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Not on this podcast. Okay.
Because it's just like, you know what, the world's too bad.
Yeah, it really is. It's scary. It's terrifying. Like I am, and I've talked about this. I am straight up paranoid. I am the mom who, if I turn my back or even turn to my side to bend down and get something in the grocery store, I have a kid's foot in my hand. Like I'm holding onto my children and they're buckled in. Like I buckle them every single time because people are just bad and it's just scary. But anyway, okay. So, that's probably the peak of the lightheartedness in this case because it goes pretty far downhill here in just a minute. So, yeah. All right. As always, I like to give a heads up, one more chance to back out before things get really intense. The next part is absolutely gut-wrenching and does give details about the children. Please use your own discretion on whether to continue. When Chris was initially confessing to investigators, he claimed that he brought up separation to Shanann and she murdered their 2 daughters in retaliation, and that he strangled her after in a fit of rage. He claimed he then transported their bodies to an oil site leased by, I'm gonna butcher this, Anadarko Petroleum, his former employer. However, it was actually during an argument about divorce that Chris strangled Shanann and 4-year-old Bella walked in on the scene. He told her that Shanann was sick and loaded both Bella and Celeste into his truck with Shanann's body in the bed. The girls were loaded without their car seats and spent the drive dozing off, holding one another and laying in each other's laps. It was at the site of Shanann's burial that Chris smothered 3-year-old Celeste with her blanket. Bella then asked, "Is the same thing gonna happen to me as Cece?" Chris proceeded to smother Bella with the blanket, Bella's last words being, "Daddy, no." That ruined me, and during research, I cried my eyes out. Like, how horrible. How awful. No one. Like, just leave. If you don't want to be there, leave. How in the world? Literally, go. If you want to be with her so bad, go and leave your poor wife and those poor kids and the son that you had on the way. Leave. Like, I bawled my eyes out because it's just so horrible. Like, how can I can't. How can you do that? How can that even be a thought in your head and then to actually do it? But then when Bella, who is 4 years old, said, "Is the same thing gonna happen to me as Cece?" Like, how? There's no way. You are a monster. You are a vile, foul monster. You're not even human. How can you even be human and listen to that baby say that? Her last one, I can't, it ruins me. What a monster. I can't even remotely fathom.
No, it's completely unfathomable just because that's a little tiny person. And up until this point, like, I don't think he was a bad dad or anything.
No.
So it's just those babies have complete trust in him. And, you know, it's not like they can fight back either. They're tiny. There's just no chance for them once he decided that, like, that was it.
Yeah, well, I mean, he also, and this was in a report, and I don't remember if I put the source in here or not. I go through a lot of sources. Some I use, some I don't. But there was one that said, I think it was the same one where it was saying he, like, gave Shanann oxy, hoping it would end the pregnancy to make it easier. It also said that he had attempted to smother the girls in the home and failed. So this was not, I don't even want to say heat of the moment, because heat of what moment? You just murdered your wife.
Practicing?
Right, oh, right. Were you trying to get a feel for it? Like, this is one of those cases where he's not even stupid. Like, there are some where they're just so arrogant and just flat out stupid. And you can, like, make fun of them. This guy's just evil. Like, there's nothing I can say other than he's an evil monster. And this is one of those that's extra hard because it's like,
very calculated.
Yes. Like, those are your children. Your children. That was your wife. Your pregnant wife. Your son. But no, Nicole Kessinger was more important than that. Important enough that you murdered your wife and children. There's such a disconnect. Because that is just...
For the whole of 2 months.
Literally, your side chick of 2 months. If you're that miserable, leave. Like, here's the thing. If you're worried about what people are going to think of you for leaving your wife and your children, imagine what people are, like, right now. Imagine what people are thinking and saying when you, in their lives, like, just selfish, egotistical, vile, foul beast. Like, this is one of those that just really has lived under my skin. And this one was also in 2018, so I mean, like,
really recent.
Yeah, I remember seeing all of this in the news, and
you're like, oh, I hope they find her.
Yeah, well, and Shanann was part of a company called Thrive. I actually was also in that. Like, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a good product, though. I liked it whenever I used it.
You were in the MLM?
I was. And the girl who is at the top of my little pyramid, her name is Ivy. That was Shanann's team leader. So, like, pyramid, Ivy was at the top. Shanann, from what I have heard and researched, I think she was up there pretty good. So, like, Ivy knew her. Yeah, Ivy knew her. I was way down here. I talked to Ivy, I think, whenever I was joining. But, like, I remember seeing her post and be like, this is so sad. Like, you know, personally knew her and her husband and these children, and posting and being like, you know, please pray they are found, pray they come home. And then when it comes out that he did it, it was like horrified, like just speechless. It's just awful. Investigators found Shanann's body buried in a shallow grave and recovered the bodies of Bella and Celeste inside crude oil storage tanks nearby. They were each put inside from a hatch in the top that was a mere 8 inches in diameter. This was 2 separate tanks. Investigators discovered a tuft of blonde hair at the edge of one of the hatches. The medical examiner also discovered scratches on Bella's left buttock from being put inside the oil tank. Because you have to think, like, 8 inches in diameter is not a real big space. And I don't want to imagine that, but, like, they were pretty scuffed up from being put in.
Well, not even just, like, being put in, just, like, being in the oil and stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. And we're not going to get into that because that kind of messed me up when I was researching it. But, yeah, I was just, there's no sense in that. It was awful. We're not going to get into...
Just bury them with their mom. Like, why go the extra step? You already buried Shanann. Just bury the girls.
Yeah, I don't know. Why do any of it?
Don't kill them. I don't
know. Why do any of it? Like, ooh.
Or just go with your hoe.
Right, go with your hoe. Get out. See ya. On August 21st, Chris Watts was charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, an additional count per child since they were under 12, and Chris, as the girl's father, was in a position of trust, unlawful termination of a pregnancy, and finally, 3 counts of tampering with a deceased human body. Shanann's family requested the death penalty not be on the table for Chris, as they didn't want any further deaths, and they were supportive of his plea deal. So, hope I gave a long enough pause. But, that was something that, like, is very admirable about Shanann's family, and especially her mother. She said, he made the decision, he made the choice to kill my daughter and granddaughters. I don't want the choice to kill him. I don't want that on my conscience. She said, I don't want any more deaths. We don't want the death penalty. Which, I mean, I don't know. I can't say I would have done the same thing in her shoes.
I would not have done the same thing. I, like, already know. No thanks. The point of prison is rehabilitation, and something like that can't be rehabilitated. So, take it out back.
Right. Well, and we'll get into that, too, in another paragraph or two, I think. But on November 19th, Chris was sentenced to 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive and 2 concurrent, without the possibility of parole. He was given an additional 48 years for the unlawful termination of Shanann's pregnancy and 36 additional years for the 3 counts of tampering with a body. His sentence began immediately. I don't know. I mean, I guess if he's gonna be, at least they weren't, like, there are just some cases where I really don't understand why they get the sentence they do. Like, it's like a slap on the wrist. Like Mary Vincent, which granted that was the 70s, not that it's an excuse. It was, our justice system was crap back then. It's not great now, but I mean, you know, there were some changes with, right. Well, there were some changes with the Mary Vincent case, or that the Mary Vincent case brought on. But like, I guess at least with this one, if he didn't get the death penalty, at least he got what he got: 5 life sentences, 3 consecutive. Yeah. So 3 life sentences back to back, 2 concurrent. So an additional life sentence basically. But I just, yeah, I don't know. We'll talk about that in the end, too, whenever we get there. Okay. Shanann's parents, Sandra and Frank, were pivotal in Chris's trial, and without them, he very well could have been looking at death row. They said they loved Chris in the beginning, and Shanann's brother, Frankie, loved him like a brother, and that they just don't understand. Sandra said she knew the moment Shanann died. She said she heard the Holy Spirit whisper Shanann's name in her ear, and she woke the whole house up telling them something was wrong with her. Frank and Sandra now believe their granddaughters and daughter are now at peace. Which, again, like she said, she felt like, could feel Shanann's spirit in that moment. And I can't, as a mother, I can't picture, like, because I've heard that before. Like, other mothers who've lost kids, they just, like, wake up in the middle of the night and then they get the news the next day, or a phone call, or what have you, that their kid is gone. And I just, like, how close this family must have been with one another, too. Like, I don't know, that my heart breaks for her parents, because they sound like really good people, and to have to deal with what they've dealt with, not only a daughter, but to lose 2 granddaughters and, a grandson that they would never get to meet. It just breaks my heart, and I can't imagine what I would do if I woke up in the middle of the night with that feeling. Like, I would tear the whole town apart until I found my kid and made sure they were safe. Like, especially just because I've heard so many things like that, where it's like, you know, I just can't imagine. As for Chris, he claims to have recently found religion and says he hears Bella's last words to him every single day. He also says that he has photos of his family in his cell, and claims that he reads to the photos of the girls daily. I have so many things. I have an abundance of things I would like to say about this, and I think I cannot say most of them without being.
I'm just trying to be chill, brother. I'm just trying to be chill.
I am Christian and I love my Jesus. People like this hide behind religion. And that's between him and the Lord. But people like this hide behind religion. I don't know why, to try to make themselves feel better, to try to make the rest of the world go, oh, well, he's found God now. Isn't that just fine and dandy? Like, what do you... And no, it's not. Bad. It's awful. And
it's not an excuse. Like, just because you have forgiveness from your higher power does not mean that you are excused in the people world. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And okay. And he says he hears Bella's last words to him every single day. I hope that it drives him insane. I hope he hears it. I hope he hears that sweet baby's words and sees their faces in the face of his wife every single day. I hope it haunts him into insanity. I hope he knows no rest. I hope he feels no peace. And the reading to the photos of the girls that he keeps in his cell, it's disgusting. You fully in depth planned their deaths. And you have the audacity to sit there and, I want to read a story to them because I just feel so bad about what I did. And like still referring to Shanann as his wife. Are you kidding me? You wanted a divorce. You murdered. Why are men? Why is this man? I won't even love men. I won't even do men like that. Why is this monster? Where's Nicole now? Where's Miss Kessinger now? She's like vanished off of social media because everybody's like, yes, we all hate you, because she was Googling, did they hate the Frey lady, the mistress, you know? Yeah, no, we all hate you.
Absolutely.
110%. And if she's listening to this, just know we all think you suck. So
yeah.
Also,
reading the photos of your dead children does not make you a good dad.
Right? Are you? Is this?
There's no way.
This is dad guilt.
For you to redeem yourself, you're a bad dad.
You're not even human. I just can't. I can't. And Shanann's poor parents, they just want to be left alone because apparently people were like trying to call into question Shanann's like self, like her.
Like she's
trying to make her look bad.
She can't defend herself.
No, we're not gonna speak ill of the dead.
She's dead.
Like
she was murdered violently.
I just, here's the other thing. You wanna claim you recently found religion. Your girls never even got that chance, and they never will.
Nope.
Your wife doesn't have that chance. Like how dare you? That it just makes me so mad as somebody who is religious and loves my Jesus. It makes me so angry to see people like this try to hide behind it. And it just, like, I don't claim him. I don't want anything to do with him. Like,
nobody should probably claim that. He's on his own.
Yeah, no. Like, no, you can sit in your cell, and I truly hope he goes insane. Like, clinically batshit crazy. Because that's what he deserves.
For this guy.
No. I hope he can't sleep. I hope he stubs all of his toes every single day, the first thing he rolls out of bed. I hope the bed falls on top of him after he stubs his toes. Like, I just can't.
Only ill will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I have no words. I can't even talk right now because I'm just like.
It's hard to articulate because of how, like, horrendous it is. Because I'm just sitting here and I'm like, damn, I thought I would have, like, more to say, but I'm just like.
I have more to say.
It's just so bad.
I have more to say that we can discuss after I am done with this podcast, because a lot of what I would like to say I cannot say on YouTube, or I could get in trouble.
I'm trying to filter myself. It's not working great, but it's
well, and there are some cases where you just can't. So I've considered making a Patreon for like the really, really intense cases where like I absolutely will not censor myself. I don't want to have to censor myself here either. And I think I hope I, did justice to Shanann and her girls in this case. But I'm just a little more limited on YouTube because there are certain like words I can't say and things I can't say, and but I hope they are at peace. I hope that Shanann is with her girls and her son, and that they are at peace. And I just can't. I hope her parents are at peace. Like, I hope they aren't still. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's. I don't think you'll ever.
There's no way to. Yeah,
there's no way to just be normal and functional again after this.
No.
Like, they'll grieve every day for the rest of their lives, but I hope that they are doing okay as they can be in their situation.
As okay as they can.
Like, I just can't. Just can't. I have no more words. Okay. That one is real heavy, so I do think we'll do a fun one next week. But I have been trying to incorporate, and this started with my mom last week, because I think Mary Vincent was a little heavy, not as heavy as this, still pretty intense. But what is something happy, a happy thing, something good that happened this week, or something you're excited about? I can go first.
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
You're asking me?
No, you.
I just had some really good coffee.
Oh, I love coffee.
So
That is, I have one more Alani in my fridge, and it's my favorite flavor. And I've been saving it and hoarding it because I knew it was my last one of that flavor in the variety pack, and I get to drink it tomorrow morning, and I'm thrilled.
That is very exciting.
I'm pumped. And then KDS is coming up for my people who are here for the doll part.
The doll part.
I'm so excited. Do you have a booth, or are you just a helper?
No, I'm just helping. I'm gonna be with Rachel at her table.
Picket fence?
And picket fence, and then my friend Katina Fleming too, which is kind of, I get shared, and I just gotta just do all the stuff. It's fun. I love it. I like it better than regular vending.
Yeah.
It's frightening a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. It turns out I really don't like people. I like the nice ones, but there's sometimes they're just not nice people, and I'm like,
there are some rude people. They'll come up and they'll be like,
I don't get it.
KDS last year had people mean mugging my prices, but that's all right. That's your business.
I will never forget that lady. She was an older lady, and she bought like the only doll I had that was like $300 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she was looking at my Wilby, and she was like, "Oh, their Wilby's like $200 cheaper." And I was like, "Yeah."
Then go get their Wilby.
$200 cheaper. Like,
then go get their Wilby.
Yeah, I'm like, just and he was priced at like $500. I'm like, he's already cheap.
Yeah, people are wild.
Wait, why are you telling me?
Caitlin
it's weird.
Coming up to my table last year and wrapping me in an embrace as I cried my little eyeballs out. I was 10 out of 10 not having a good time. It was enjoyable.
That lady was ridiculous.
I'll do it again, but she was rude. Yeah, she was kind of crusty, and the doll she left with was also crusty, but that's her business. As long as she likes it and she's happy, I hope she's happy, because you have to be pretty unhappy to be mean to people.
I don't hope she's happy. I hope the doll's head fell off or she's got out.
I hope it's haunted.
I hope it's never in the same place she left it.
Yes. Okay, well, we have that. The Dollies in Dread episode that will be coming the first week of September. I am so excited about it. I'm recording it in Wichita.
Yes.
The case that we're covering, and I say we because Caitlin will get to do this in person with Caitlin and my bestie bae Hannah, and probably Allie, but she's nervous, so maybe she'll just sit in.
We'll make her do it.
Yeah.
She is easily persuaded.
She is,
in person.
Yeah.
I feel like we could bully her into it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm very excited. That one is geographically appropriate, if that gives you a hint.
Yeah.
If that gives you a hint for what case we're gonna be covering. Ooh.
I don't know.
Ooh.
Could be anybody. There's so many. I mean, Kansas is a terrible place. It's probably
Yeah, it's just a little rough. But anyway, so if you want to hear more true crime and scary stories while at work, make sure to like and subscribe. New videos come out every Tuesday. If you have a scary story you'd like to share, you can send that to my Instagram at Dolls&Co. That's Dolls and KOE. Until next time, stay aware and be prepared. Bye.